It's Tuesday, June the 4th, 2024. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, and this is Things You Might Have Heard. I'm going to present for you 8 news stories from yesterday you vetted as conversational by covering those stories in our feeds. We'll explain that a bit. But they cover stories that include information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. Pat McAfee, Method Man, and Angelina Jolie are in the queue, so stick around for all that great stuff. We'll explain the vetting process in a bit, how the headlines actually to be in this story, and give you some things for today that'll get you started off to a pretty bright day, we believe. Our website is, of course, this is theconversationproject.com. Check it out for more information about our full offerings 24/7. And of course, email me as you please. Not right now. Wait a little bit. At theconversationinbox@gmail.com. As we said, 8 stories are in the queue for today. These stories are not in a particular order as presented, but we'll give you some context, especially stories that should have been number ones, should have been the top stories, but weren't for various reasons, and we'll get into that as well. Let's start off with the story that really should be the top story of them all this morning. The headline for this one: Mexico getting its first female president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Claudia Sheinbaum has been elected as Mexico's first female president, marking an historic milestone for the country. Sheinbaum is a climate scientist and former mayor of Mexico City, also known for her data-driven approach and less combative style compared to the current president and her actual mentor, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Her election represents a significant change in Mexican politics, ushering what many hope to be a new era of leadership. What people are hoping for in the new era of leadership in Mexico is less violence in elections, number one. Of many of the people in the election cycle this year, I don't have the exact number in front of me in this story, but many of them were assassinated. People running for elective office, the opposition just decided to kill them outright. That's one way to stop stuff. So there was a lot of security issues with this election, a lot of things going on. However, she prevailed, being a Sheinbaum. Not only is she the first female president for the nation, first Jewish president of the nation. So a twofer on that one. Congratulations to Ms. Sheinbaum, and hopefully she can start riding the ship that is the Mexican government. That's a kind of a big thing to do, especially looking at our government, but it's up to her to try to do things in a different way. The story that actually was number one, for various reasons, is this headline here. Pat McAfee apologizes for calling Caitlin Clark a white bitch. There you go. It's that simple. It's that there. Pat McAfee, of course, is a host on ESPN and his own show, which technically is his own show that streams on ESPN, referred to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA rookie, as a white bitch during a segment of the Pat McAfee show. Now, this was actually kind of a brilliant segment up until that point, even though where he was going with it didn't really go where he thought he was going to do. The remark was basically talking about Caitlin Clark being blasted and being the target for all this actual literally physical harm and being sort of just assaulted for her gameplay. Now, essentially, the argument is there's a great rookie class in the WNBA. There's a lot of great talent in there, a lot of great young talent as well, but a lot of it's being focused on Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever because of her great career in college and the story she got in there and being number 1 draft pick, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So Pat McAfee opened the show with a PowerPoint presentation showing the values and the points of how Caitlin Clark is superior to every other rookie out there, and dropped that line that I'm paraphrasing here, essentially saying there's all these great talent out here, but there's only one white bitch out there who's beating everybody. Now, it was meant to be a mark of endearment. In fact, he used it later on that night in WWE for his dual role as a WWE Raw analyst. But essentially, calling the best player in the league and calling him number 1 rookie in the league and calling someone that everybody's targeting on there a bitch and a white one in a league that's dominated by, non-white people. Not a great look. Pat McAfee gets a lot of flack for what he says and how he does things. A lot of people at ESPN don't particularly like him, but as Stephen A. Smith says, not Scott McPelt, Stephen A. Smith says, they pay money to see Pat McAfee. They pay money to see Stephen A. Smith so they can say crazy pop-off stuff because they pay the money and they bring in the money and the eyeballs. Pat McAfee bringing in eyeballs, not exactly a good look, but bringing in eyeballs for this one in particular. Headline for their story, which also probably should have been the number 1 story, getting around to it. But this one really got buried because of the craziness going around it, if you will. COVID-19 6-foot distancing norm didn't have scientific backing, faces scrutiny. Recent report reveals that a 6-foot social distancing guideline implemented during COVID-19 pandemic actually lacked scientific backing. The rule issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the U.S. was intended to reduce virus transmission. However, the report indicates that there was no actual scientific evidence that really supported the whole distancing thing as being more effective than others. This raised questions about the decision-making process and the scientific rationale behind public health measures during the pandemic, which have been a lot of. Now, this picture you see is Dr. Fauci, or Mr. Fauci, as MTG called him in the hearing the other day, taking some grilling about how things actually work during COVID-19, essentially taking his comeuppance, if you will. Dr. Fauci is essentially a hero to all of us by trying to shepherd the pandemic response. At the same time, he is admitting that some things didn't quite work out, and luckily, we came out for the better of it. Of course, being a target of the right and conservatives for a fact of essentially giving away freedoms in a way to keep us safe. The distancing thing, apparently another thing. It wasn't quite right. We'll see how this thing plays out going forward, and if we prepare for something else like this, what's happening. Dr. Fauci essentially was retired when the pandemic happened and just kind of came back to run things. We can see that so far wasn't exactly probably the best thing for him to do, at least for his career-wise, although he's super retired. He doesn't really care. This is one that really bugged me yesterday because I couldn't figure out what the issue was. There was a story about a glitch from the New York Stock Exchange, and it turned into, when I checked my stocks on Robinhood, how my Berkshire Hathaway went from a whole bunch of money to a whole little amount of money to from thousands to about a couple $100. The headline for this story, and the big issue was, New York Stock Exchange says bizarre glitch that showed Berkshire Hathaway down 99.97% has been resolved. For some reason, a trading glitch happened in the stock exchange that sent Berkshire Hathaway down from where it is to where it really shouldn't be, around $100, essentially. Trading was halted, the glitch was fixed, and for some reason, I got a chance to see in my little Robinhood notice a nice little drop that was really, really a big drop and came back up. Luckily, I don't have that much money in it. It's literally fractions of stocks of Berkshire Hathaway A, so it wasn't like I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I only lost a couple $100 for a couple hours, but it is a big deal for things like this to happen as people are trusting in the stock exchange to run their money. Will this happen again? Probably. Will it happen to something big like this again? Maybe. Will it be fixed pretty quickly? Obviously it will be. But what does this actually mean for people who got in on this thing? Does that mean if I was paying attention, I could have got in a whole bunch of Berkshire Hathaway for $100? No, it was halted pretty quickly because these things are there to have safeguards on this thing. But we do know that for just a short period of time, you too could own a whole bunch of stock run by the Wizard of Wall Street, Wizard of Omaha, for a whole lot less. The number 5 story is really a throwaway story, but it trended well for you guys, so we're popping in there. No, not Method Man. He's not a throwaway story. Zachary Quinto accused of yelling at staff at Toronto restaurant. Zachary Quinto, who's not doing anything significant at this point, as far as I can tell, was called out for being a terrible customer, yelling at staff and refusing to believe empty tables weren't available at a restaurant for him. Essentially, I'm Zachary Quinto. Don't you know who I am? I was in Star Trek. I was in Heroes, God's sake. I want a table. The restaurant accused Quinto of making the host cry and other diners uncomfortable, told him to take his bad vibes somewhere else. That is what happened there. They followed up with this with a post about the whole allegations, so explaining what happened. Nothing coming from Quinto as of note that we know of at the moment. The non-throwaway story. This is Method Man, who's making a maybe second or maybe third life as an imposter and impersonating a YouTube star who's doing recipes on the internet. He's saying he's not going to perform at Hot 97 Summer Jam again. Made that mistake once, not happening again. He doesn't plan on returning to the annual gathering because the generation gap. Essentially, hip-hop is passing him by, or hip-hop fans are passing by. It'd be great if guys like me would go out to a festival like this, because I'm in my 50s and listen to Method Man in my teens. That's not who's there. The folks in their teens are listening to the younger crowd, and it don't sound like them. Now, many older heads are still going out there to perform at Summer Jam because it's the place to be. It's a place to be seen out here for the new generation. Method Man says he and his methods are not quite down with this. He's moving on. He's doing shows and festivals for the older cats, not these young kids right out here. Congratulations. He's a hero in my book. At number 7, an unofficial Lego event filled with empty space and piles of loose Legos has been compared to the infamous Willy Wonka experience. The picture you're seeing in the video is not this event, but Brickfest Live UK, held in Birmingham on May the 25th to 27th, promised to bring a jaw-dropping collection of bricks creations and from across the globe under one roof. That is a quote. It did not happen. It just had a bunch of piles of bricks. People saw lots of bricks. People compared it to the Willy Wonka experience held in Scotland last February, when it went viral for being totally bad and having no candy. Literally no candy for the kids. Angry fans had videos, had responses, had all sorts of social media on this one. Not a good look for the independent folks. Nothing really to do with Lego, just a bunch of folks throwing Legos on the ground to try to make some quick money. Maybe they wanted that viral fame. Maybe that was the whole point. Let's just say it was terrible. And finally, our number 8 story for the day, the death of more TV as Sony shuts down an entire TV division with multiple fan favorite shows. TriStar TV is now gone. Created in 1986 as a joint venture between Columbia Pictures, CBS, and HBO, it was revived back in 1991 under Sony. It is now dead. Now, most of the shows on TriStar are done in what's left in syndication or basically streaming services. They produce a lot of great shows out there, but they're essentially killing it and all the shows underneath it. If you're looking for a particular show under TriStar, check it out to see what's happening with it, and maybe you'll see what's going to happen. Maybe they'll buy it out and someone else produce it. This was released by the Director of Operations, Suzanne Patmore Gibbs, telling us that essentially yesterday. It's now time to get to our teaser story. This is a headline that we are teasing for you to engage in so that maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's up to you. It's literally up to you to make this happen. What you need to do is just go to our feeds on Facebook and X, facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project, and x.com/th_conversation. Engage in the story, and you can tell us if the story is worthy of chatting up. We took 8 stories today from yesterday's stories, the top 15 of yesterday, and gave them to you here, presented here, and kind of gave you context on how they laid out. Here's one that I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about. How high it'll go, we'll see. It's already posted in our feed, so you can go ahead and engage in it if you're watching this video live with me on the 550 live feed. And it is, headline reads from the Hill, Sandy Hook families ask for Alex Jones Media Company to liquidate. So Alex Jones wants to reorganize his company because he's been sued for $1 billion and doesn't want to pay it up. But the Sandy Hook families who won the lawsuit want him to just liquidate his company, and they're asking the courts to do that. Just liquidate the company and get the money and make him pay for what he did. If you don't know what he did, oh, trust me, look it up. There's plenty out there. We'll see if this is a story we're talking about. I'm pretty sure it will be, but how high will it go tomorrow? Just go to your social media feeds, and when you're out there, check out our feeds on Facebook and X and engage in the stories. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. The more engagement you give to it, better chance we have of chatting it up in tomorrow's headlines and in the weekend, how it works out towards the full week. Our spotlight sponsor for this week is me, or specifically my book press, which produced a new book this week, or last week actually, Middle Manager Manifesto. Part of the More Better Media platform are books, and I write books on various things, including in my other side-ish gig, dealing with businesses and personal development as I consult and work with people and helping grow their businesses. This is a book that I basically wrote for myself because in the world of work, in my actual day job, I am not in charge. I am stuck in the middle. And so how I managed to be stuck in the middle is with some tips here. 14 tips, 14 chapters that give you tips and tools to survive and thrive in the world of work. And so if you're looking for a way to make your way through the world today, or a way to get into or maybe get out of the middle management role, these are some tips to help you get better at being a middle manager or get into the role itself. Check it out. It is called Middle Manager Manifesto. It is tools to survive and thrive in the world of work, and it is found on Amazon and other platforms as well. But the Amazon $10 paperback and $5 Kindle edition are there. So just go to Middle Manager Manifesto, search for it with pain, and of course, click the links in this video or the audio if you're listening to this, and you can find this book everywhere. And it's pretty much everywhere, but Amazon is essentially the OG of book purveyors this day. So Amazon is where you'll find Middle Manager Manifesto. Check it out. Yeah, buy a copy, $10 for paperback, $5 in Kindle. Leave a review. Let me know how you think about Middle Manager Manifesto. Conversation Project lives online at this is conversationproject.com. This is a chance for us to quickly hype ourselves up, specifically when we're not doing book stuff. So go to our website. This is conversationproject.com, and learn more about us and what we do. Go to our website and visit our sponsors and help us keep things going. Go to our website, click on the partnerships page, and consider being a partner to help us get things moving along here. Go to our website, learn about Operation Chaos in deeper detail. That's partly about being a partner. And go to our website and figure out ways to follow us in other media, other ways, other venues. What we do know we need you to do is essentially follow us on the feeds. Do that for free. And email us when you have ideas for us to do things better, worse, and different sometimes going forward. We need you to engage, because that's our special sauce, is the engagement of you with conversation. We need you to have conversations and comment so we can go deeper into conversations. We need you to let me know what to do better and worse, because you put the words in my mouth every single day. And we need partners. We need help. We need help getting things done. So we need your assistance. Consider becoming a partner. Otherwise, make sure you're following us in the feeds and getting the work done to help us get the work done here every single day. With that, it is time. We are here. Let's get into things you might ought to know for today, being Tuesday, June the 4th, 2024. Fun things for today, fun things for your learning. Get your noodle going on this day. Starting off with birthdays, as we always do for the fun stuff. We'll still kind of call it the fun stuff. And today's birthday is June 4th. Start off with Scott Wolf turning 56 years old on the day. And birthday twins. Russell Brand, 49, and Angelina Jolie, 49. Angelina Jolie in the news, not because of herself, but because of her daughter and that guy she used to be married to. So that's that. But she is still doing great things. So are Russell Brand, although he's doing them sort of in a weird bent. And Scott Wolf, who the last thing I think he was doing was he was in Nancy Drew, which for some reason I was just enamored with and watched that whole show, all that silliness and all. But Russell Brand still following him and in being a conservative commentator, as such. And Angelina Jolie being beautiful, fighting her husband for wines, and of course having her daughters change their names. All these three beautiful folks getting birthdays wishes on the day. Let's move on to our history lessons for the day. Things that happened on this day back in the day on June 4th. 1973, the patent for the ATM was granted. Congratulations. 1989, Tiananmen Square protests violently ended in China's capital city, Beijing, with People's Liberation Armies soldiers and tanks. Literally, the tanks rolled in on that day. You remember the picture, if you remember the picture of the man standing in front of the tank a few days prior, and the tank just kind of sitting there, and he's just sort of yelling at the tank. On this day in 1989, the tanks and the soldiers rolled in and busted the whole thing up. In 2003, on this day, Martha Stewart stepped down as head of her media empire, hours after federal prosecutors in New York charged her with obstruction of justice, conspiracy, securities fraud, and lying to investigators. She would be found guilty of those charges. She would spend time in jail. She'd be hanging out with Snoop Dogg, which is kind of odd because they both have criminal records, so you kind of wonder if they can be in the same place at the time. But Martha Stewart gets her prison cred, at least the start to that role of that prison cred starts on this day. Of course, now she's back to making commercials about fertilizer and cooking things and cat litter, because she's Martha Stewart. She can do what she wants to do. She got the cred. Let's get to our word of the day from the Big Words Project. Today's word is pithy. Pithy, which I use often with this show because it's not pithy very much, means brief, forceful, and meaningful in expression, full of vigor, substance, or meaningful, terse, forceful. I think that's the wrong. Part of the definition, but it's in there. So full of vigor, I believe, is another one. So brief. Pithy means brief. Pithy is a word that Bill. Now I've got to think of names. Bill O'Reilly used a lot when he talked about his stuff, when he had his show, and said, when you comments be pithy. Pithy is being quick, being quick, being quick. His pithy remarks during the meeting were both insightful and impactful, leaving a strong impression on everyone. Pithy basically means quick, 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 quick. Pithy. Try to be pithy. I try to be pithy. I normally aren't on this show here. Let's get to the daily affirmation for the day. Today's daily affirmation reads like this: I trust myself to make the right decision. This affirmation enhances self-respect. Self-trust is a fundamental aspect of self-respect. By affirming your trust in your own decisions, you honor your intuition and wisdom, which is in turn something that cultivates a deeper respect for yourself and capacities. You can see more affirmations by going to Amazon, looking for another book I wrote called 100 Daily Affirmations for Positivity and Confidence. Search for it or click the links that you see in this video or in the newsletter. I guess you can't see me in the newsletter, in the audio that you're seeing right now. I'll wrap things up with a celebration. Always have a reason to celebrate. Today's celebration is the Audacity to Hope Day. Now, U.S. Audacity to Hope Day is celebrated every year on June the 4th. On this day, we celebrate the resilient human spirit that conquers all obstacles and hope with hope and perseverance. It is also a day to celebrate movements and important landmarks in humanity that have made the world a better place for all of us. If you hadn't figured out yet, this is basically, I have the audacity to hope I can finish this program today. It's been a rough, if you watch the whole show, if you're just watching the half part we're doing for the things you ought to know, it's been a rough day. It's been a rough week. It's been a rough year. It's been a rough 15 months. Operation Chaos is getting to me, and just getting through this morning as computer glitches are all around. So today, the audacity to hope to finish it was happening. Today, I hope you have the audacity to hope for better things in your day and better things in your life going forward. It takes a lot to really put forward that positive energy when you know there's really nothing backing it. But having the audacity to show hope, the audacity to celebrate what can be and celebrate the things that have happened and how they can happen again is a great thing. Today, I'm asking you to have some hope. Show some hope. Show hope for others if you can't show it for yourselves. Show in the audacity to hope. And that's it. Today has been Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, the edition 4 Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much, and hoping that you stick around for more of these things, especially during the chaos and turmoil that is Operation Chaos getting into the house. We are praying. I'm opening to you, praying for a good inspection today so we can finally have it into that part of the nightmare and move forward, because the biggest issue is we can't move forward until we can literally move forward. So praying for a good day, praying for a good inspection of the house, praying to get back in the house soon and to get back to some sense of normalcy and just normalcy. In the meantime, stay hydrated, stay limber, stay on task for all the grand things you're doing. Love you. Mean it. Let's have a great Tuesday. Let's have a great week. Let's have some audacity to hope today. Let's get it on.